Hi honey, how are you? Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, I'm Teknikolour. A few weeks back, I had mentioned that I always build the stereotypical cabin or mountain home for my Christmas builds. But I really should try making an apartment decorated for Christmas, since after all, I do live in New York City. So here we are. I used to think that making a floor plan for these San Myshuno apartments used to be so difficult. But after having worked on quite a few of these apartment builds, I'm finding it a lot easier. This one is actually very similar to a previous build I had worked on here at 2B Jasmine Suites. And, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This specific lot is in the Spice Market neighborhood of City Living's San Myshuno world, and I think it might be one of my favorites. Actually, in my Legacy gameplay, we lived in the apartment right across the hall, 2A Jasmine Suites. And I sort of wish I had picked 2B to live in instead. Knowing that the back half of the apartment was going to be reserved for bedrooms and bathrooms, it was pretty easy to start getting to work on the living space. I think by putting the kitchen closer to the middle of the apartment rather than by the front of the building, it really helps to open up the apartment. It also helps to hide the kitchen a fair amount from the front door without needing a physical wall, which would lengthen the hallway even more. Plus, with the peninsula acting as a breakfast spot, it adds a space to dine. Generally, I probably would have tried to fit a dining table where the Christmas tree ends up going, but it's not truly necessary. Actually, spoiler alert, but I do end up being able to fit in a small dining table later on in the video. I should also warn you that despite this being a much smaller build than usual, I have apparently used a ridiculous amount of packs. Not that I'm trying to persuade you to buy packs, but if you came out of the holidays with some extra money, from now until January 5th, 2026, anytime you use my creator code, Teknikolour, in the EA app, you'll receive a 5% discount that actually stacks with some other sales or discounts they might be running. Full disclosure, I do earn a commission whenever my code is used, and they've increased the commission during this time period, which just means that a small portion of the sale goes to me instead of all of it going to EA. So if you're planning on grabbing any Sims packs or really any other EA titles, using my code is a really nice way to support me and my content. That said, I do think that it's also very important to be informed. If you aren't aware, there's an EA buyout that's supposed to go through in 2026. A lot of Simmers, myself included, are worried about what this means for the future of The Sims 4 and The Sims franchise as a whole. The Sims team has made so many impactful changes over the past few years, at least since I've become a Simmer, which truly helps underrepresented communities. By giving these communities more visibility, whether that's by adding in items or exposing us to cultural dishes that we might not have had before, the Sims team has put in a lot of work and research into improving the game and making it a happy place for all of us. This buyout could mean very little in terms of changes that we'll see in the game. Or it could mean reversal of these inclusionary practices going forward, or even removal of many of those things that makes The Sims 4 so wonderful. A few have decided to step back from The Sims, but since we don't really know what's going to happen, I'm going to continue making Sims content, and I urge you to look into this buyout yourself. Let The Sims and EA know how you feel about it. That may mean that you might not feel comfortable giving your money to EA right now, which is okay and completely understandable. If you'd still like to support me in some way, the easiest thing you can do is free. By watching and interacting with my content, whether that be here on YouTube or on Twitch, or even my other social media, you're helping me to grow as a content creator. I'm setting goals for myself in 2026, a sort of New Year's resolution, I guess. Like unlocking monetization on this YouTube channel and growing my Twitch community. If you're unfamiliar with Twitch, it's basically a live streaming platform where I play games and chat with my community while doing so. I play The Sims, currently on Generation 9 of my Legacy challenge, and occasionally do work on builds on stream. But I also play a ton of other games, ranging from Palia to Uncharted. Speaking of New Year's resolutions, do you have any? I think the one that I've been the most successful with that I can remember is getting better about flossing. I used to hate it, but now I floss every single night. And I feel very weird if I've gotten under the covers without flossing first. I'm also personally hoping to be more physically active and read more in the new year. So if you're in my book club, please hold me accountable. Enough yapping though. Around this point, we're getting to making the living room and kitchen feel more lived in. I love that I was delusional enough to add a tiny little desk and radio record player in here between the two spaces. I think you'll be able to use both the desk and the radio, but honestly, this is very much apartment living. I also added in a bookcase because the wall that the front door is on felt so very empty. I promise, this wall and the hallway in general will become much more interesting by the end of this build. I guess it's one of those trust the process situations. Oh, I also included a little hall table with a mirror to act as a spot to get ready to leave the apartment, or a drop-off space upon returning home. Luckily, we have this table with a tablecloth that's seasonal, so it works. In my own apartment, I have two little snowflake patterned runners, which we used to decorate our TV console, and now in here, our radiator cover. Moving on to the primary bedroom, I wanted to embrace the whole red and green color scheme to drive home the Christmas aspect to this build. This can very easily get out of control at times, so I tried to be more subtle about it here. Originally, I had planned on placing the bed directly under the windows, but based on the position of the ensuite bathroom, I had to make some minor adjustments. I really like having the armoire in between the two windows, and then two other sort of dresser storage items at the foot of the room. I also added in that beautiful framed art TV here and a little ottoman. This way, your sim can watch TV in bed or even just cozy up at the bottom of the bed on the ottoman. I feel like that's such a natural thing, but some people don't keep any electronics in their bedrooms. Like, I have my whole entire desk set up here in my bedroom, plus we have a TV, and we're usually on our phones in bed before falling asleep. I don't know how people go without it. My boyfriend's brother and his partner share a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms, so that sort of served as a kind of inspiration for this apartment. I went a bit more subdued color-wise for the guest bedroom too. I wanted this room to feel a bit more cool, if that makes sense. I also decided to add in a full-size desk here to turn this space into an office when it's not being used as a guest bedroom. By using this lighter color scheme, I was able to bring in a lot of other types of furniture that might not necessarily match the rest of the furniture in the apartment. I think that's so natural, but I think many builders forget about that. Like, your apartment or house likely has a variety of furniture types and even, dare I say, wood swatches. Not everything is going to match, especially not easily. And that's normal. You find ways to make things match, like the bed has greens and more neutral colors and no wood, but the desk has wood and gold metal legs similar to the armoire and mirror. It's all about finding ways to balance it all together. The hallway itself is long. From the kitchen wall to the guest bedroom door, it's like 7 tiles, I believe. That doesn't feel like a long hallway in The Sims, but it really does look like it. My apartment really doesn't have a typical hallway like many apartments do, but I feel like this is so common. Sometimes the front door is at one end and there's not really anything but wall until you reach the other end. Here, we have doors to other rooms. But sometimes, based on the positioning of the apartment in the building, at least here in New York City, you won't even have that because on either side of the hallway is someone else's apartment. Anyways, we were able to fit in a small dining table and a bookcase in this hallway. I think it breaks the space up a bit more, so it doesn't feel quite as expansive. Plus, I added in some wall decor and frames for you to put up your Sims photos if you do end up downloading this build. I'm also not entirely sure why I do this sometimes, but I left deciding on the walls and flooring until now, which honestly isn't always a great idea to wait on. I feel like it kind of limited me here. Plus, this apartment is a taller wall height, so I probably should have put more thought into that before I dove headfirst into decorating. Still, I think everything came together nicely in the end. One thing I should try to work on in the new year, at least when it comes to my builds, is using blinds that aren't from my first pet stuff. I think my boyfriend mentioned it to me that they worked well once, and now they're like my go-to for window dressings. Plus, I usually end up adding curtains too. Ultimately, I went with wall paint that felt like it would fit in well with an older New York City type apartment building. Like, I don't think you can tell, but my apartment has a whole picture railing around this entire room. Also, a lot of that kind of detailing throughout the entire apartment. So adding things like crown molding or chair railings, whatever, as part of the wall paint really helps significantly in selling this as an apartment. At least it does to me. I legitimately never include bathrooms in my speed build videos. That's another thing I should probably work on in the new year, designing bathrooms that aren't so basic. I don't really know what to do with them. Like, it's a small functional space, and there's realistically not a lot of wealth of decor options at our disposal when designing bathrooms. For these, I decided to stick with green wall tiles and that black hexagonal floor tiling. I have these same exact floor tiles, but less shiny in my bathroom. I don't think I'd get them again, though. We had to fully renovate our bathroom a few years back after a leak that started from a neighbor a couple of floors up from us. These tiles, while beautiful, show everything. Keeping it clean is a nightmare. Any tips? Now, though, we're wrapping up the speed build and putting the final touches on this apartment. I'm thrilled with this little experiment to work on a New York City style apartment that's decorated for the holidays, though now I'm realizing I probably could have added more New Year's decor since that's kind of where we're at now. It wasn't when I built this, but let's pop open the game and I'll show you around. So here we are at 2B Jasmine Suites in San Myshuno, and you can see here that this is the rather ugly hallway that comes with this building. And then there is, right behind my camera, there's a little elevator over here with honestly too much space around it. But here is the front door to this specific apartment, and you come right in, and if you were to turn right, although left on our side right now, you have this whole little entry into the kitchen, and then the living room over here. You have the tree, of course. But if you were to turn left, coming into the apartment building, you have this nice little hallway that goes all the way down here to the guest bedroom or the full bathroom for everyone. And then this door over here is actually the primary bedroom with its ensuite bathroom. Now, you might also be looking at this and being like, Tech, I think you might have forgotten a few walls. The reason why I did that is because if you want to download this off of the gallery, in order to upload it, you need to do it as a room. So that is how I have it up on the gallery, but you can easily just go in and put the walls back and just put the wall paint back, and it's like it never happened. Just a little tip in case you didn't know. If you'd like to add this build to your game, you can grab it off of the gallery using my EA ID, Teknikolour. If you enjoyed this build, please drop me a like. And if you want to see more of my builds, don't forget to subscribe. If you want even more Sims content, consider dropping me a follow over on Twitch. I play my pack-based legacy challenge every Thursday. Planning on picking up City Living or any other packs? Please consider using my creator code Teknikolour at checkout on the EA app. It's free for you and supports the channel. Plus, my code can now be used on so many other EA titles, not just The Sims. But thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video, and have a happy new year. Bye-bye.